So, I'm Kiko. I'm one of the world's most powerful wizards, and I wanted to talk about how Americans have gone absolutely insane. So, I was raised Christian, Catholic, and that's a very American thing, or so people say. Uh, I went to school, I was in the top of my class in a Texas town, one of the top schools in the country. So I got into the top school in Texas, UT Austin, and then I graduated top of my class there in philosophy, with a bit of physics and a lot of sciences. I became an artist and a philosopher that had a wonderful community in Austin that like I really miss. And I found all this stuff. Like I was kind of traumatized by my religious upbringing, just by Texans in general being bullied. I'm a bit autistic, and when I went to university, I specialized in philosophy and the scientists to cure my depression and live like a fulfilling life based on science that um, that I was studying there. I was still kind of like I'm still brainwashed by like whatever delusion we think God is, like, and I'm still grappling with that. But what's the real grappling is, that Americans say you work hard, you'll get rewarded. Um, and even like they always quote the Bible and stuff, and then they deny science, though. Like Christians tortured Galileo for saying the earth was round or something like that. And they're just kind of always behind on the scientific trends. Like the new pope's trying to throw a rave down. We've been doing that for almost a century. All kinds of Christians like burned witches, um, just a lot of denial of science. So, being a philosopher and a scientist, which is what I went to university for and paid money for, and was like, is the generally accepted thing you do to like get a better job. I got into experimental medicinal science because no doctor could give me a pill that could help me. Like nothing helped me not be super depressed, not get over the illnesses that I had. Nothing worked. Um, so I experimented with psychedelic technologies and had massive success. Like long term, like seasonal use, nothing overdoing it. And I had massive success. Like I was super happy. I was super productive. I had thousands of friends. I mean, at least people I reached out to and participated with societally. I took some people off the streets when I started my own business in the art field. Like I fed homeless people. I like just talked and inspired. Like I just like go out around town and inspire people and encourage them. And like I'm a people pleaser, so maybe some people didn't want my help, and that's something I'm working on. Still, because like I just want to help people. Like I mean, even like we're supposed to be of service. Like that's what you're supposed to do with your life, or what society says. So I was a good person of service to the community. Um, so the medicine that really helped me with my anxiety, because of like I have social anxiety and just anxiety in general, because the world's in like a super dark place. I mean, it's been in a dark place for a long time. Like working hard won't get you anywhere. We all know we'll like end up in these like corporate jobs or even worse. Just working for the rest of our life, not able to live in our natural cycles. So that's what I did. I didn't just study psychedelics. I studied living in the natural cycle. Participating with the seasons. The flow of the stars and the moon. It's just like gravity. just like the cycles of things that we go through in life. It's very cyclical. We all move in patterns. That's where my autism comes in. I have really high pattern recognition. So like graduating and having all this expertise in math and things like that, I started saving Bitcoin. I was like, I don't want to be linked to this like horrible American money that's like basically blood money, debt money that, you know, boomers and a lot of generations, the generations that of Christians that came and like killed all the Native Americans and brought slaves over here and just abused everybody. Like they were basically prisoners that ran away from Europe and then came here and started killing people and taking over the land and then asserting their like insane delusions on everybody. And I wanted to believe in God, you know, I just wanted to be a part of society. Like I wanted to be a part of my family and make my parents happy and like go to church. The only difference was that I used cannabis. And through my cannabis use, I still graduated high school with a 4.2 GPA and like almost dual majored at my university, like passed like differential equations, advanced physics classes, got into quantum physics, read like a lot, like hundreds of philosophy books. I was just like really successful, but I was also like really suicidal, so extreme depression, like severe depression. It's one of the top 5 killers. It could be considered a terminal illness. And who knows what else is going on in there because the stress we're all under. Not to mention the autism and ADHD and giving me the ability to focus and make those amazing leaps forward. Like, given like the diagnoses that I've had, like, it's amazing that I was even able to like graduate, that I was able to function that long, that I was able to create a business plan and move towards crypto and pattern recognize that and write books and do all this and I like pushed myself really hard to make friends. And that's kind of what saved my life. You know, it wasn't just the cannabis, it was the wonderful community of artists in Austin that gave me comfort and helped me not worry too much about how people was judging me. That I guess people were judging me harsher than I thought, but like I was like, you know, everything we're taught, breaking trends, setting trends, it's being on the edge of the collective consciousness. I studied a lot of like Carl Jung and was really into that whole individuation, like individualizing yourself through unique ideas, because that's what culture is and what progression is coming up with new ideas that can revolutionize the way we do things, make things easier and improve things. You know, I understood slavery and things like that, but there's this thing in the Bible that says like nobody can hurt you, basically, if you fear God and you live in the way of God. And even though I was like on cannabis, like I was very much living in the way of God, just as like a loving person, a caring person, a helping person that worked really hard to come up with ways to improve society, not just on an individual level, but on a collective level, like on a medicinal level that could help a lot of addicts through psychedelics, help a lot of depressed people through all kinds of these medicines that, you know, I was young. So I was like, I don't care if it's illegal. I'm going to do what's right. Anyway, I get caught with like illegally searched, driving through the wrong town to visit my parents from Austin. And they find some cannabis oil on me, which is like a real medicine that's like, I mean, I guess in our FDA says it has no medicinal value, but it's been used as medicine for thousands of years. I'm almost running out of time, so or I guess I'll make a part 2 later. I'll divide it up later. But so I get caught with that, and like, you know, it said, I mean, it says in the Bible, which is like where my delusion starts. I guess like believing in the Bible and like believing the words I was raised on and the community and what Christians and Americans believe in was delusional. I was basically tortured and held in jail until I signed a plea deal. I never even got to see the judge. I never got to have the words of wisdom explain myself and how, you know, I'm right with God. I'm a good person. I've never stolen anything in my life. I've always just wanted to do good. I've been like bullied a lot. Maybe that was some of the reason that I was depressed, and I needed medicine to get over it. But like all the medicine that the doctors give you has really negative side effects, and it just wasn't my vibe, yo. And it's not like I wanted to be on cannabis forever. In fact, I'm like totally sober, but right now, but I still think it could help me in some cases. I'm just, I'm just too scared to use medicine at this point because the Western medicine doctors are literally insane. Their version of trying to help me is literally torturing me, putting me in prison or hospitals just for being sick. I was even talking to my grandmother the other day about like how when her and my grandfather in the hospital, they're just horrible places. Western medicine has just got off the rails and lost almost all of its humanity. It's just become an industry now, not like a place to actually help people. I mean, like I understand there's like, there's some things they do help with, and it's important to have doctors, and Western doctors do have some good ways of doing things, and the right creams and antibacterials and things like that. But when it comes to psychological medicine, we are still like really new to this. And most of the medicines we use, like the way addiction started with like opioids and things like that, is all because of the way corporations fund different medicines that they have patents on and push them. Like look up the movies on like Oxycontin, how that got like pushed and got people addicted. I was talking to somebody in my store the other day about how like their mother got addicted to opioids because of a surgery she had, and they put them on there. And then she needed help, and she's like begging the doctor for more opioids, and they wouldn't give it to her because but she was still in pain and having withdrawal symptoms, so she didn't know what to do, and they didn't like help her with that. So she stole a prescription plan, ended up with a felony, went to prison, and lost all her rights and a lot of job opportunities for the rest of her life, like a mother. Me, like I got caught with that hash roll and never got a trial. I mean, I could have argued better than anybody has ever argued. I'm still trying to like go take that trial to a wrongful conviction, but it would be a lot of money, like 25 grand, and just for me to testify that I was wrongfully convicted, illegally searched, whether or not you believe in cannabis medicine. I was illegally searched. It was a bumfuck town, and bumfuck towns are like really corrupt. And I paid a lot of money just to go to prison and never get a trial. Most of my crypto. So I lost my crypto. I lost my chance to have a family. My fiance at the time like developed super psychosis depression just from seeing the way they treated me in prison. And before that, we were like super hopeful, and in the end, I'm glad I didn't get with her, but like I was right with God until like I guess I lost faith when they wouldn't even let me speak at my own trial or at my own pre-trial. Anyway, I was so traumatized that I basically just kept trying to kill myself over and over until they finally put me in prison. And I'd lost all my Bitcoin because I was basically in like a permanently induced panic attack because nobody would listen to me. Basically, I was bullied into needing medication for depression, and then when the system got me with my medicine, I was bullied into taking a prison sentence, bullied out of my job. That I had a decent sales job at the time, making like 52 grand a year, which was pretty good for out of college at the time. Not like amazing, but better than regular retail anyway. And like during those 3 years where I was having this manic episode and going to prison because nobody would take my claim seriously. Basic, and then the Christians, like you tell the Christians that, and even my Christian community that I was in good standing with, they're like, we'll pray for you. I'm like, this is science. This is a medicine that saved my life. It made me like joyous in God. You know, Bob Marley was a big fan of God, and their religious sacrament is cannabis. So it's just crazy, you know, that there's lots of places around the world that, you know, cannabis is acknowledged. It's been used as a medicine for over 8,000 years. They found even evidence of cannabis being used by the ancient Egyptians for medicine. But now it's like written in the law that it has zero medicinal value whatsoever. And you're not even allowed to argue that it does in court. If you get caught by the wrong cop in the wrong jurisdiction, you're fucked. And when like people talk about where my life went wrong, I could have made millions of dollars on my crypto, been a positive salesman in my community. Who knows? I could have gone back to university to study, to get like a doctor's license and go further with certifications into the psychedelic field, or even became a lawyer or a professor or a rock star. I mean, I was a bit of a rock star anyway. But I would have had more time and focus to do those things instead of panicking about going to prison and nobody believing me, and then running away to California because I was so traumatized that, you know, my own community would demonize me for using a medicine that's scientific. So all the Christians, they just deny science. They're just like, oh, all these drug addicts, get a job, blah, blah. I had a job. I was very high functioning. I had like 3 jobs. Okay, I was like an independent artist building a business while working in commission sales, while being an active member of my church, and being a writer, you know, and learning how to play guitar, being in bands, and I'm also an actor. So I was doing all these things, like 5, 6 potential jobs, like 2 or 3 that are actually paying me. More productive than like any Christian I've ever met that usually just focuses on one thing. And it was just so traumatizing. Like, it's like you like watch these nuns and these idiot priests talk about how like psychedelics open up this portal to like other drugs and horribleness and demons. And it's like the demons are in you. It even says in the Bible, take the goddamn thorn out of your eye before you judge somebody else. Judge not lest you be judged. And so people just say, oh, I was a drug addict and that ruined my life, when I was a very productive person just on cannabis. I wasn't like abusing any other drugs. Like the occasional visionary journey at like a music festival, like cyclical with the seasons, is like a widely practiced like ritual by many religions around the world, and super healthy. It's scientifically like can open up ways to like reconstruct your brain and your nerve patterns to be healthier and work and get through trauma, which I had a lot of trauma growing up in Texas, especially raised by Catholic parents who are delusional. Like, you know, God came to save me. You know, and I still pray. Like, that's how delusionally ingrained these programs get. Like, I still pray so much to God. And God never came to save me. God still hasn't like come to save me. You know, I'm just like hiding out in my hometown now because the world is a stampede out there, and I never learned how to protect myself. I just thought God would protect me. Right? That's delusional. You know, it said God would be my vengeance, but how does God take down an entire state? I guess like there's plenty of people in Texas that are like super depressed and dying with cancer and all kinds of stuff, and this massive mental health crisis because I wasn't able to go back to university or preach or just educate people. It's still very hard to educate people. They'll probably take this video down about how psychedelics can revolutionize mental illness medicine. Like, I mean, everybody's different. Everything can be abused. Like, a gun can be abused. Like, but it's still a tool that can be used to defend yourself. You know, a car can be abused if not operated correctly. You can eat too much food. You can eat shitty food. Like, you can, you know, everything in moderation, for sure. But it's just all these judgments from people that just write me off because I used cannabis for medicine, for my real serious medical diagnoses. And then keep like locking me up and forcing me to take these medicines, these pills that just make me fucking stupid. So that me, like the super active, awesome person that works out all the time, works 3 jobs, talks, I hope I'm making sense. If I'm not making sense, let me know. Tell me to go back to an insane asylum or whatever. You know, I think we all grapple with like the meaning of life. So forgive me for being delusional and still believing in God, sort of. But you know, give me some credit for my words here. I feel like I'm making a lot of sense, and I do a good job of explaining myself that there's scientific fact behind the revelation of psychedelics in mental health treatment and even more kinds of treatments. Especially cannabis, you know? Like 70% of Americans believe that cannabis should be legalized. As far as bipartisan issues goes, that's like one of the most, like we haven't had like a presidential race that close in a long time. So that's one of the most agreed upon issues in the country, but they still keep it illegal because they get paid to shove pills down our throat and put people in prison and occupy prison beds and make sure you're taking their pills that insurance companies pay for so they can get paid, because they can't patent a natural thing like cannabis. They're even trying to make cannabis synthetics that they can patent so that then they can use those. But that's my main struggle, is all these people are out there like, oh, work hard, do this, that. I would have been literally a soft, like at least $6 millionaire person, like a $5,000 in my investment in my company when I started investing in crypto would be $6 million today. I started buying when Bitcoin was like $130. So maybe, yeah, like maybe 4 million soft with just a like I was working a $52,000 a year job, saving every penny I could, like saving like multiple thousands of dollars a month. You put that together in 3 years, that I would have from like 2014 to 2017 been able to amass at least 30 grand with a Bitcoin, and I could have, anybody could retire on a million, and I would have had $6 million. And like I've, just because I'm insane in autistic pattern recognition, I would have put like half of it in derivatives on Coinbase. Just take my 4%, I'm making 120 grand a year, and I'd never have to work again. And I could have just traveled the world, going to festivals, making art, talking about what inspires us and the magic of everything we say and believe, and how God is amazing, or at least the universe, and just life can be amazing. But a lot of people, you know, they get stuck, they get fucked over, and then life's not amazing. It can be very, very, very cruel for the majority of people. I'm trying to here saying that like I could help so many people with my revelations on these medicines, but it's very controversial, and I'm scared for my life. I'm scared for my life, because I still have the issues that I have to deal with, being like a disabled unk now, out of my prime. Bitcoin's already way up. Everything's rigged. It's harder to find an investment. There's no investment as secure as Bitcoin was at the time. Like, everybody knew it that had any sense of intelligence. So if you're sitting out there without a big Bitcoin bag and you didn't go to prison, you're not paying attention to what's really going on. If you still have to work and nobody like I was going in for a slam dunk and I just got stuffed by corrupt judges in industry. It was a stupid mistake. I shouldn't even have been pulled over that day. I shouldn't. But like that's where the delusion comes in. It's like people are so delusional about God and Americans that like you rationalize, oh, I'm always in the right. Oh, God will always protect me. And then you become super judgmental of other people. Like I was definitely too judgmental of other people, but I was super empathetic about it. Like I wanted to help people and just make sure everybody like had their own Bitcoin bag and was living a positive life. Like that's just all I want for people is to like try to fix their problems. And I'm really good at problem solution oriented thinking. Like I'm a really deep philosopher. Even like all the huge industry leaders and CEOs saying like philosophers are something they really need. But you don't need that many philosophers. And do they hire any like real philosophers anyway? No. No. Like if you want to be hired as a philosopher for like an AI tech startup, you still have to have like 10 years programming experience. And if you have 10 years programming experience, like you weren't as hard in philosophy as you could have been. Like I was. Like you can't, it's all a balance between altruism and corporatism and your left, right-sided brain, just like chaos and order, artist versus corporate job, like creative versus rigid, like Dionysus versus Apollo. We all have that struggling balance in our life. And for me, if I hadn't been interrupted, like I would have had my Bitcoin bag and my musical artistic career, and I could have like combined technology with my freedom to then express that wonderfully. And I still can, but like I don't have the monetary freedom that I potentially could have had, because I was literally imprisoned, robbed of my right to work many jobs, get licenses, which could, and further my education and invest in myself by charging me massive amounts of lawyer fees, and throw me in prison, torture me, strap me down, shave my head, while a priest was writing them letters, banging on the door to be like, hey, he has got a religious right for his hair. So we don't even have religious freedom, whether you want to consider psychedelics a religious freedom or not. Like literally my Orthodox priest banging on the door saying like, don't shave his head. He's a really religious, devout person. As part of his religious practice, they're just like, no, we're gonna strap you to this chair, pepper spray you, and shave your head. And if that's not like more traumatizing, you get bullied your whole life, you find a solution, you overcome all this depression, become one of the most productive, positive, conscious, expanding people on the planet, and in Austin, and people love it and they see it, and you're just running around being a wonderful person, going on hikes, just enjoying life. It's still struggling, because there's still struggle for everybody, but it was getting easy for me. I could do all that work. I love doing my work. I loved helping people. I loved making art. I love going out to the community and working with artists and just connecting. I just love connecting with people. That's why I'm talking to you now. And if you made it this far, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. And it's like, where was I going with all this? Is like literally in the court of law, I can't argue science. And literally when I try to appeal to the community that raised me, i.e. Christians, they literally just psychotically think that there's no medicinal value in drugs. Like even heroin and cocaine are recognized as medicine. Opiates are used for medicine. Look up on Google right now, cocaine in rare cases still used. And I'm not like a big fan of cocaine either. Like I think everybody has their own thing. And maybe we need to work this out with doctors, but like as people who like are supposed to be free individual thinkers, like free people in America, we should autonomously be able to learn for ourselves what medicines work for us. Okay? Like we should be able to work together in that community instead of like being closed off about it. Like that's like a lot of the reason why drug is if people have a drug problem, they're too scared to talk to the doctor, because this is what they do. They put things on your record, they ruin your chance to take other medicines, they throw you in prison, they throw you in mental hospitals. And everybody's going insane. And on top of that, to like actually live a life, then you have to work in this like corporate thing that's literally designed to traumatize you, That like you don't even have wellness benefits in a lot of jobs. The job I'm working now, there's no wellness. Like you get like 5-6 days a year, maybe. No vacation. That's not that's not healthy. But like before, when I was like working my own jobs, I, I was able to work like 4 days a week, still like hang out with people on the weekends, project through the community, work on art, work out, like just doing so productive. But then you tell me I can't take my medicine, you take away all my rights. Like I just got over all this trauma, and I graduated from your best university in an extremely difficult field, physics and philosophy. Like I was a rock star of thought. Like I could have been a star for the state of Texas. I was a star. I still am. But instead of letting that flourish, they re-traumatize me and re-traumatize me and re-traumatize me. So it's just this self-fulfilling prophecy of like, oh, drugs are bad. You ruined your life because you're on drugs. Just weed, by the way. No, it had nothing to do with the fact that you sent me into a prison that traumatized me. They gave me brain damage just from the fact it was 140 degrees in my cell. Not to mention just like being ADHD and having like no stimulation after being somebody who like read thousands of books, was introduced to the internet, that we still like don't know the effects of that, and then you're just gonna rob all that sensory deprivation with a mind spinning at 1,000 miles a minute. That's torture for a lot of people that think a lot. We're not all the same. And none of this is taken into consideration. We're all equal under the law. Fuck our uniqueness or our illnesses. Zero anxiety pills in prison. Zero recognition of any of my illnesses. Total breakdowns in there. Like I was so stressed out, murderers were afraid of me. Not of me hurting them, just like the fact of how much panic I was in. Because I'm like, holy shit, my life's fucking over. My own Christian people did this to me, denying science. I had no recourse to even argue what the Holy Spirit, or just being a human and my intuition, gave me the power to discover in the world. I couldn't even argue it. And then when I left to California, because I was like so traumatized, and just like after I got out of prison, like how can anybody like torture like their scholar without even a trial? Shave my head. Like I'm getting out of here. These people are fucking stupid and evil. So I go to California and like, fuck, I didn't stand a chance. Like I left behind all my friends, my community. I didn't realize how autistic I was. And then people like took, like I built like all kinds of companies out in California, and people fucked me over, not paid me. And even when I was getting paid, people fucked everything up and just took advantage of my kindness, because I was just such a kind, generous, and trusting person. I shouldn't have trusted anybody. You know, they tell you growing up, trust no one. Or at least, I don't know, it's the saying. But now I'm just like so fucked up in my head because I lost everything. Hiding at my parents' house, who's like are extremely abusive Catholics, like suffering for. I got hit by a car in Hollywood. Like I was doing pretty well in history. Got in Hollywood, got hit by a car, got a traumatic brain injury. It took me like a year to get back on my feet, like a year and a few months before I could even like work a job again. Lost everything I'd saved up during those past like years recovering from prison, because it took me like literally 4 years to recover from the trauma of like a 6-month prison sentence. And then I still have a felony on my record. So like I've been trying to get like my life insurance license for months, and they're just holding it up over a cannabis charge from 10 years ago. They're like, oh, you're a horrible person, have you been rehabilitated? I'm like, what do you mean rehabilitated? It's like I went from being a super productive member of society to literally traumatized worse, like one of the worst traumatizations anyone could ever go through. And then being repeatedly traumatized in California, just getting fucked over and over and over and over and over, and keep trying, succeeding, and just getting fucked over. I still have a lot of ideas, but it gets harder the older you get. I guess you get wiser, and that's why I'm just like hiding out now. I'm just like, I bite the bullet now instead of running away. I'm trying to start something new. I'm just trying to reach out to you guys and figure out if there's anybody real out there. Like, it's like I reached out to, like, it would take 25 grand for me to sue Texas, and the case could potentially be worth millions of dollars because of the civil rights violations. Not just the Fourth Amendment of illegally searching my car, but all the trauma, all the damage, all my opportunity missed for the businesses I started, for my investments, which they might not cover, but that's the thing. If there was like a timeline trajectory and it had never been interrupted, you know, I would very clearly be a massive multi-millionaire, and who knows what I would have done with millions of dollars. Like, I want to start like a water company. I'm into desalination. I like art. I could open my own art gallery. I could have gone back to school for programming and all kinds of different sciences. And instead, I'm just here spinning in my head, still going over this traumatic story, trying to find anybody who would give me any opportunity, taking any little opportunity I can. You know, just still making art, still trying to believe in God, still arguing with God. Not that I want to argue, just that I don't understand. I don't understand how Texans and Americans could be so fucking stupid. Like, what was my life worth? Like, they made like a few thousand, like 50 to 100,000, and like court costs and lawyer fees just enslaving me. There's no like productivity. There's no contribution to the community there, just to get money to enslave me, while I could have been making money, you know, selling furniture and mattresses at my job, providing the community that way. They want me to provide by the community to just sit in prison having panic attacks, no medicine, already autistic. Oh, you're autistic and depressed, so you're using a medicine. Let's torture you and take away your medicine and make you scared for the rest of your life. And I didn't even realize I would end up losing millions of dollars in all opportunity, and then like totally looked down on by women because all they care about is money, even though like I'm a poet, a writer, an artist, a philosopher, and a super fucking cool and respectful dude. It has a touch of a fucking angel and an amazing cock. Voted best fucking Hollywood at the bar next door. And now I know how like insane women are. I mean, men too, but especially women, just how they treat men, how men treat men, just locking me in prison when I could have created jobs, maybe even cured cancer for them. I was looking into like multiple possible cures for a cancer that even after I got out of prison, I went and worked with a doctor in Oregon that literally cured cancer using some of these medicines. Literally. But now, like, there's no way for you to know who I am, you know? Now everything in society is all about appearances. Especially the older you get, everything's just all about appearances. You're a doctor, a lawyer, or a finance bro. Everything's all about your job, your career. I don't think like that. Like, I was like, I want to break free. I want to serve society, but in my own way. Like, me just being awesome is serving society because I'm inspiring people, coming up with new methods to do all kinds of creative things. I mean, there's lots of entertainers. I mean, I was an amazing entertainer. Not always the best. I made some mistakes. A lot of people got canceled along the way.